Hey everyone, first off, I want to say thank you all so much for all the support that you've been giving me. I made a post in a group on Facebook 2 days ago about creating a YouTube channel and about what I know in graphic design and Affinity, and people just blew it up like in the best way possible and made me feel so good about doing this. I can't say no, I mean, it's really gave me the kick in the ass that I needed to actually do it. Because I mean, if you look at my channel, I have a video from almost 3 years ago that I put out, and that was the one and only video I did. And it's just been sitting here by itself for so long. And I've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about continuing putting out videos, and I just didn't feel like I should, or I was lazy or whatever. But thanks to you guys, here I am. And today is going to be the first video I've put out in a long time, and I hope it goes well. Here we are. Welcome to the dojo. All right, so we're going to jump right into this. When you open up Affinity, you're going to have what you're looking at right here, just a blank canvas. There's not going to be an artboard. There's not going to be anything up on your screen. And so I've had so many people ask me, about starting up. How do I start up? How do I just get things going to actually start creating? And this is it. I'm going to show you. First off, you go to File and New. You do that with everything. Now, I have a couple presets made. I own a screen printing company. So these things here is something that I use quite often, so I have them as presets for whether it be different color or transparent background sizes, etc. So, but for logo creation, which is what we're gonna do today, logo creation, you can make it 500 by 500. You can make it 5,000 by 5,000. It doesn't matter how big it is because it's vector. It's scalable. Yeah, and what I mean by scalable is that you can put it on a business card, something tiny, or you can put it on a billboard, and it will never pixelate because it is vector. And that's what Affinity Designer does. It works in vector artwork, for those of you that didn't know. So today we're going to start with my logo preset, and just to show you what it is, let's say we were doing custom. So we would go over here to page width. You do 5,000 by 5,000. DPI, which is your dots per inch, is going to be your resolution for when you do actually export this to a JPEG, a PNG, something that is rasterized or pixelated. You're gonna want a higher DPI, like 300, if this is something that's gonna end up being printed, meaning flyers, business cards, etc. If you're going to be putting this on the internet, you can do 72. That's kind of what everybody uses. I don't care what anybody says. I do 300 no matter the project. You don't have to. I just do. I leave it alone at 300 DPI. That's where it stays. Going down here to your color format. For most people, not all, for most people, you're going to have two different settings, RGB8 and CMYK. With the differences, RGB, which means red, green, blue. Those are strictly for internet purposes. You cannot get that color, that saturation and brightness of the colors in CMYK like you can in RGB. And with RGB, you can't print that either. So if this is something that's going to be on the internet, something that's going to be seen through a phone, through a computer, something like that, use RGB. It's the prettiest colors. You can't beat it. If it's going to be printed and you want to know how that's going to look, and I want you to watch here in just a second, when I change from RGB to CMYK, my color wheel over here is going to get dim. So right now I'm gonna go. Oh, that was gray. So I'm gonna go from RGB. I'm gonna go ahead and create this real quick and hit create, and you'll see here that my color wheel is nice and bright. It's pretty. But if I go back to my document setup, go to color, and then go to CMYK, watch what happens to that color wheel. It gets darker, it's dimmer, because that's what printers can print. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Don't know why K stands for black, but it does. But for today's sake, we're only doing this on the internet. I'm going to be using RGB. In this color profile, sRGB, I honestly don't know what all that crap stands for. I will say that being that I've printed stuff at my t-shirt place in different formats before, it makes a difference. It'll look one way on your computer and a different way when it gets printed. So just leave it at sRGB, you'll be fine. Transparent background, for the sake of what we're doing, we're going to go ahead and leave it at transparent. If you didn't want a transparent background, just select that, you hit OK, now you're left with a white canvas. I almost always use the transparent background with mine, mainly because I'll have more control over the color. I can grab a square and just kind of stretch it across, and then over here in my color panel, I can, let's say I wanted a red background, I just turn it to red. At that point, I have a red background, and I can make that whatever color I see fit. It's very, very easy. So that's kind of what I do. For now, we're not even going to need one. Let's get into the shapes. Scratch that. What we're going to talk about is the guides. If you don't have these little rulers up here, they are a game changer, and I suggest you enable them. And to do that, all you do is go to Show Rulers. You go to View and Show Rulers, and you'll see they disappear when I click that. View, Show Rulers. These are a game changer. You're like, but why? What do I need that for? And let me show you. You grab here, you just click and drag, and you'll see this line comes down, and it'll snap right in the center. And over here, you grab this one, and it'll snap right in the center. And then you can go back up to View, Lock Guides. At this point, you can no longer, you can no longer grab them and move them around, but when you have an item or an object, it'll snap to that every single time. Now, some of you that are more advanced might go, oh, well, you don't need that to snap in the center, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, you don't. However, there's certain times when you have a bunch of layers and a bunch of objects going on that the object will not want to snap to the center or snap to the, the center, that it'll just try to snap to other items in the panel. I don't like that. I want to make sure it snaps. Now, there's other ways of doing that. So let's say it's over here. You can go up to the top to your alignment tab, and for align horizontally, just click that. And if you wanted it down here as well, you would click align vertically for the middle, and then there it is. But that's not always the case either. So it's very circumstantial. I go ahead and place the rulers there. You don't have to. I just want you to know how to do it if you actually want to use it. So somebody asked me, his name is Gene, he asked me to kind of show a tutorial on circles and like doing a circle logo with curved text in it, and he said, how about the BMW logo? So that's what we're going to create today, and there's a lot of really cool features we can use with it as well. So to start off, we're just going to grab the Ellipse Tool. When we go over here, we can hold down Shift, and it's going to make a perfect circle, but it's going to go off to wherever our mouse goes, and you can see that. I don't want to do that. I want this to be centered up. Now, yes, I can make one right here and then put it in the center and have to line it up. That's fine. You can do that. To do it faster, though, guys, you get your Ellipse Tool, you put it right in the center, hold Control and Shift at the same time, then drag out. It'll stay centered the entire time. Very, very simple. And then, so your move tool, you might have seen me clicking this a couple times. Your move tool is how you move your objects around, of course. If you're on, let's say, your circle tool over here, and instead of going all the way up here to your tools, you can just hit V, and you'll see that if you hover over, it says move tool, and in the brackets, it has a V. So if I just hit V, I'll automatically go to that move tool. And there's a lot of hotkeys, shortcuts that Affinity has that are super, super helpful. And believe it or not, you can actually customize your own. And once you get used to the ones that are already there, I would highly recommend you going through and seeing what else they have. And most of these you'll see, like rectangle is an M, ellipse is also an M, and you would just hit it until you get the tool that you want. And you see it kind of going over there, and all I'm doing is clicking my M button. You have artistic text tool is T. So they're and they kind of show you what's, you know, what the shortcuts are. Familiarize yourself with them. They are super, super useful. All right, so back to the logo. BMW logo. The back of a BMW logo, the big circle itself is black. So now that I've selected and created my big circle, I'm going to go over here to my color panel, and I'm going to make it black. At this point, for the most part, I am done with that circle. So over here to the right, or in my layers panel, I'm going to hit this little lock key. And you'll see that that locks. Now what that does is I can no longer grab this circle, so I don't mess with it. And I don't want to mess with it, so that's great. But I'm going to grab another ellipse tool, put it back in the center, Control Shift, bring it out. We're going to go roughly here. Now it looks funny. We're going to make this one white. And then this is where things get pretty cool. So we're going to grab our rectangle tool, go to the center, and we're going to go out this way to the bottom right. As long as it's bigger than the, you know what, I'm going to do this. Let me show you, just so you can clearly see what's going on here. I'm going to make this some kind of weird color. There we go. I'm going to make our rectangle blue. And so you can see whenever now I'm not holding shift or anything, so it's freely moving, but that's okay. So as long as this corner and this corner go past where these two meet at that line and these two meet at this line, so you see that green that pops up, and then here as well, the red. So as long as they go past that, so if it was this way, obviously this one's not passed, but this one is. So we're gonna make sure it's all the way across. And then all we're gonna do from here is to duplicate, there's multiple ways to do it, and it's kind of cool. You can do Control C, Control V, and you'll see a second one pops up, and I can move it around. You can do Control J, and then you'll see that a second one pops up. And then another thing that you can do is you can hold the Alt key, and then just click and drag your item. You can do this over and over and over. So if you wanted multiple duplicates, my favorite is the Alt key. So I'm going to click that, drag it here, and I'm going to lock it right there. Now you might be looking at this like, oh, that looks kind of funny. I can see where you're going with the BMW logo, but it's not right. Check this out. So we're going to select both of these here. And some people might think, you know, on a typical computer, to select multiple items, you hold down Control. Well, Affinity Designer is just a little bit different. Now, you can hold down Control in the Layers panel and select another object, and that will work. But if you want to do that with multiple items inside the artboard, you're going to hold Shift instead. So you're going to click one item, hold Shift, click your second item. Now you've selected two items. From here, we're going to group these. You don't have to group them, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can right click over here and go down to group, or you'll see right over here, Control G is what will be your shortcut to do that. And that's what I use, and I do it so frequently. So we'll select both of these, and then we're gonna hit Control G. Now they're in a group. From here, we're gonna play with our layers panel, and we want these blue squares inside this gray ellipse. Now I'm gonna turn it back white because that's how it's actually gonna be. But we're going to take it, and you're going to put it inside, you see that, watch, inside the layer panel. Oh, I messed that up. It dropped to the wrong spot. So if I put it, and you can kind of see over here, if I put it below it, it'll just go in between the black and the white circle. If I move it to the right ever so slightly, it'll go inside that circle. Then you drop it in, and you can open it up, and you'll see that there's an ellipse with two squares inside of it. And now you can start seeing that BMW logo form. You know, it's starting to become a real thing now. It's actually looking like it's supposed to. Okay, so things get a little interesting now when it comes to curving text. It's not hard. Don't be freaked out. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool, go to the center. Once again, we're going to hold Control Shift. We're going to bring this all the way out to about the center. Now you can eyeball this, it doesn't matter, and I'll show you why in a second. To the center in between the black and the white circle, the inner circle and the outer circle. From here, now you can't see the blue anymore, you can't see the inner part of it, that's okay. Just grab your artistic text tool. If you were to grab the frame text tool, it won't work. Grab your artistic text tool, and you'll see that you get this little cursor, as you do with most of everything, and you get the letter A. Well, when you get close to this line, that A turns into a T with a squiggly line. See that? So all we're going to do is click and drag, and as we drag, it will show us how big our text is actually going to be. When you find that, and this is not permanent, you can change this at any time, but once you find what you think is a good text size, just let go. From here, you have two little, what I call widgets, and they may be called something else, and if anybody knows, put it down in the comments, let me know. I call them widgets. You can, call them whatever you want. Some people might call them doodads. So I'm going to grab the green one. I'm going to bring it down here where it's centered up on that horizontal line. And then you have your orange one down here. I'm going to do the same thing. Now this is all before I start typing. Up at the top here in this panel, you'll have your alignment. Do you want it to the left, which it currently is, center, right, and justify? I'm going to hit center, and you'll notice, well, you can't really tell because it's black, but our text is now up here in the center. So I'm just going to type out all caps B. Oh, I see what it did. It flipped. I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm glad it did that. BMW. All right. For now, or no, not for now, we need to make it a white text. So we're going to take this. It's upside down. We want this font on the top. So to do that, it's super simple. Up here you have these flip horizontal, flip vertical. You're going to click both of them once. Now it still looks funny. Highlight your text. This stuff here will pop up again. Over on baseline, you have this little reverse text path tool. Looks like it's pulling a U-turn. That's what we want the BMW to do. We want it to pull a U-turn, and we want it to face the other way. So click it one time and you'll see it does that. Now, the text is too tall. It's going above the black. There's different ways that you can get it down. You could Control Shift and scroll in here and do it this way. And I'm going to go ahead and change the font to Impact. I know that's not the correct font, but it looks better than Arial. And it's closer than Arial to the actual font. So anyway, you can hold Control Shift and move this down. And yes, that looks better, but that's not what we want to do. I'm going to show you a different thing here. Up here, back where this reverse text path is, you have this baseline 0%. If on here, you click this and you can move it around, you'll see that your text will go from all the way down below your line to above your line. And you can find your sweet spot a lot easier. And if you're using a mouse, you can just scroll here. So you can just hover your mouse there and use your scroll wheel to find your sweet spot as well. So we're halfway there. Our text looks good, except it's too close. The BMW logo has a lot of space between each letter. So we're going to go over here to our character panel. If you don't have this panel, if you don't have any of these panels, I'm telling you, you need them. Go up to View, Studio, and then there's all your panels that you can have. And there's different ones here, from effects to snapshots. And some of these I don't use, and you can see what I have selected. However, at any time, I can take that and select it and bring it here, and it'll pop up on its own. And you grab this little sideways 2 lines, looks like a pause button almost, and you can just drag it and place it right where you want it over here. And then now it's there at all times. Now I don't use that one in that panel, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. But that's how you would get all your panels to the side here. But I'm going to use the character panel here now with the BMW selected, and it's highlighted all the way. Over here in Positioning and Transform, you have this VA with some arrows going left and right below it, and it says tracking. If you, once again, sorry guys, I had a little bit of a camera malfunction, but what can you expect? It's my first video since 3 years ago. So going right back to the letters here, we have the BMW letters. They're way too close. So once again, highlight them all, go to your tracking tool, and we're going to scroll up. You can see that it's going to take a little bit, and I already know that I'm going to want this to be around 700%. Now you can play with it over and over. Just hit 200. You don't like it, hit 400. You don't like it, just keep going up. I found that 700 looks pretty good for me. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's a BMW logo. We can go way more in depth in this and talk about 3D effects and putting a shadow on it and many different things, but that I think should be saved for a different video. This video was intended for people that are just looking to get started and know some basics, and I think we accomplished that today. And guys, look, I'm brand new. You know, I appreciate any support in the comment section. Let me know what you would want to learn. I would love to hear from you guys. Look, my email address is affinityninja@gmail.com. Message me. I do one-on-one private lessons as well. Contact me. Let's talk. Let's communicate. This channel is for you guys. I love doing graphic design. This is what I mean, this is my passion. So I'm here to help you guys learn what I've learned. And Affinity is a fantastic tool. If you're just now looking at getting into Affinity, and you haven't bought the product yet and you want to, you're just not sure, it's $50. It is so cheap compared to, you know, the big guy, Adobe, you know, and it does so much. I will say, Seraph, if you're listening to me, and I know you're not because I'm brand new, but if you're listening, get with the program. There's these just couple little tools that I have to use with Illustrator that Affinity doesn't offer yet. But no, I know that they're working on it. They very much listen to all of us designers, and I think things will be a lot better in the coming years, because we're only on 1.8 something. 1.9's in beta right now, and they're already putting out 2 more tools in 1.9, and I'm so excited. So I'll be sharing that with you guys as soon as 1.9 comes out. But until then, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.